Ted, it's wonderful to know that you have reached your 75th anniversary of your birth, and that within the struggle, you have more than achieved, more than established your reputation as the man in this world who's here to do good.
Oh, we're gonna say happy birthday once again to Ted. You're out there, you gotta join and sing with one more time. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Music in America, and personally music for me in my upbringing and my development of becoming a musician. I was influenced by, man, there's so many of them. I could go on. The whole interview would be taken up with me giving you names of musicians, Black African-American musicians. But one of my favorite musicians growing up was Earl Garner. He was a genius piano player. I don't think he couldn't read music.
He couldn't for a while. I don't know whether he ever learned.
Yeah.
But,
you know,
I don't think he needed to.
Yeah, he didn't need to. Everybody knows the song Misty. Earl Garner wrote that song. And he wrote other songs, but he was just a great piano player. As a little boy growing up, he was my favorite piano player. I listened to the bands from the 70s, Earth, Wind and Fire, the Motown era. There's so many African-American musicians that influenced me. And not only me, like, you know, we're talking about the world. They influenced everybody. And even when you hear music today, like rap music, R&B music, the beats, the grooves, a lot of those grooves and beats come from, this is a song Herbie Hancock wrote. There's a rap song with that going on. There's another rap song, that's Miles Davis, you know. So yeah, and those are just a couple of examples. And I'm not going to say any more. I'm going to turn it over to them.
Just piggybacking on what Bobby's saying, our music, our culture, our looks, our walks, our hairstyles have been copied by everybody. Okay, and I can remember being a little girl, not too many years ago. And all my influences were basically people of color, because I was raised in a church, and I mean, there was gospel choir there, and my first time seeing an all-black cast of anybody performing was on black and white TV, and it was Porgy and Bess. And from that, I just knew that that's something that I wanted to be a part of my life. And so from then on, I was in every choir I could be in, church, school, it didn't matter, community theater, and it evolved from that.
Yeah.
Well, both of them have been very modest about what they brought to this rich tradition of black music, particularly in the jazz world, in the world of R&B, in the world of what I like to refer to as black social improvised music, which really covers a rather wide swath of styles and musical practices. She mentioned the church. Black music is based in large part, so much of it comes out of the traditional black church, where people are taught to improvise. They don't even realize it. It's the way the music gets delivered in an improvisatory way. They don't even realize that they are becoming the most significant creators. They can deliver the creative idea in ways that nobody could read a book or read a set of lessons to learn quite like they do in the rich oral tradition that has been a part of the training and the education orally inside of the black church. And then outside of the church, in the metaphor that I like to refer to as the street, where you process all the sounds and experiences in your life and spit it out creatively. and you know what that means in terms of the history of black music. You're talking about jazz that got so formalized from essentially a folk music to a rather sophisticated kind of music that shaped the world of music and took black music all around the globe where it is beloved because of the blues alone filtering in, particularly the music that came about in the 20th century. The blues open up a whole cavity of expressivity of secular ideas after slavery. What the blues afforded after emancipation was black people were free to sing and to shout about whatever subjects they chose. They commented on that, and they often commented through their music. I often talk about the nexus between Saturday night and Sunday morning. You could go to some dives, some bars, some clubs on Saturday night and hear the music, and you can go to some black churches on Sunday morning and essentially hear intrinsically the same music. Saturday night we might be singing about my baby, and on Sunday morning singing about my Lord. So the most incredible thing for me is to bear witness and to be able to try to understand. My whole professional life has been geared toward trying to understand and trying to learn from and trying to analyze and to explain the wonder of the creative idea and the creative impulse that comes from black people. It's for real. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, and Beale Street is in Memphis, Tennessee. I grew up in the rigidly segregated South. I didn't have a white teacher until I went to Atlanta to go to Morehouse College. All of my teaching was received, and my learning was given by black people. All of it. Segregation was the law of the land. And I'm so grateful. I was in school with very talented people. It turned out that my father was a high school band director who led a band around town. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a household where music was performed all the time. And he started taking me. My first little gig was as an 8th grader playing clarinet. He just took me out on a gig with him. But I tell you, I was in high school with Booker T, who later became known for Booker T and the EMGs. He was a year in front of me. Maurice White was 2 years in front of me. Played snare drum in the marching band, played in the concert band, became the founder and leader of Earth, Wind, and Fire. Isaac Hayes was 3 years in front of me. Carla Thomas was 3 years in front of me. She and I grew up in St. John Baptist Church, where her father, Rufus Thomas, walking the dog, became famous. So, but there are many others I could call. I don't have the time, like Bobby said, I don't have the time today, but simply to say that what happens to black artists is that we come from a community of sound. We don't even realize it. My role as a scholar is to try to help explain the phenomenon of our success in what we do. That's what I do. That's what I try to do. And to help others to understand and to help spread the gospel that we all represent in various ways. So black music is known all over the world. You can't go anywhere. If you say you are a musician, this time last year, exactly a year ago, this very time, I was in Johannesburg, South Africa, with Wynton Marsalis and the Lincoln Center Jazz Orchestra for a week at the Joburg Jazz Festival. A week later, I was in Cape Town. And you identify as a musician anywhere, almost anywhere, except to the degree that it ought to be in this country. Elsewhere, people almost genuflect because it means something. And they see a black musician, oh my goodness. It's a sign of stature. It's a sign of significance. It's a sign of importance. And that's because black music has influenced the world of music. Certainly, almost everything that's come out of this soil. But anyway, yeah.
So Miss Mary, same thing.
Copies.
From a yeah.
I can answer one more question.
One more question. So from a vocalist standpoint, and the same influences that we recognize and we know, when presented with the history of the aura or the vocal side of this, what are your influences? Who are your influences?
That is always something to answer because somebody's always asking me, who's your favorite singer? And
That was
at
my code.
any one given time, I have so many. You know, it's just, I mean, I might listen to Sarah because of whatever. I might listen to Ella because of somebody. I might listen to Cecile McLaurin Salvant, who's one of the new and up-and-coming singers, because I just love her style. There's so many different ones. I don't know who really influenced me, all of them. I would say everybody that I've ever listened to, Mahalia Jackson. We could go on and on and on. Like Bobby said originally, there are so many that have been copied and sampled, as I mentioned earlier.
So, Mr. Floyd, from a chord structure, when we talk about blues, when we talk about the transition from understanding blues to gospel early on in those things, what are some of the complications that you're seeing with today's musicians that may not have the depth of understanding of origin of music, where things are coming from, the griot quality that we know that is passed down from our generation?
Right. Well, in my personal opinion, there's a lack amongst not all young musicians, but quite a few young musicians. There's a lack of the knowledge and the feel of the blues, and you know, like you said, that's really where it all started. That's really the basis, the foundation of jazz, gospel, and all kinds of music. It's the blues. So you know, that's sort of a complaint of mine. And when I talk with young musicians, when I go to schools and talk with them, I always point out the fact that you really should learn how to play a 12-bar blues. Slow. You know, lots of musicians, they hear, oh, let's play some blues. They want to swing it. Dun, 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 dun. And when we talk about playing the blues, we're talking about 12 bars. You know, you play the 1 chord, 4 chord. Well, a lot of people play it fast. But the blues, it's all about that. That's where it started, and I think every young musician coming up, I think it's very important for them to learn the blues before they learn anything else.